In the two previous videos, we talked about these two formulas for the linear equations. The first one is called a point slope form. If we are given a slope and we're given a point x1, y1. And the other formula is called the slope intercept form if we're given slope and y-intercept. So let's apply these formulas and try to find the equations of the lines. So in this case, notice that we're given the slope. We're also given a point. So I'm going to just label this as x1, y1. And this is exactly what we call, so we have a point, we also have a slope. So we can apply the point slope form directly. So what we need to do is we write down the formula y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And all we have to do is plug in the numbers. So we're going to plug so -1 for m, and x1, -3 for x1, and 6 for y1. And as x and y, these are, you will just keep them in there. You're not going to plug in any numbers. So after I plug everything in there, I got this. And technically you can stop here, but if you want to make it a little easier, you could simplify this a little bit. So for example, two negatives make a positive, so I can just turn that into +3. -3 is going to be +3. And again, you can also stop here. But if you want to turn this into, if you want to get rid of parentheses and do anything extra work, you can. So if you want to stop here, you can. So this could be the answer. So the rest of the steps will be optional, unless they specify that you have to get the answer in the slope intercept form. So for this problem, they didn't really say what kind of form we need. So we don't need to do the rest of it, but I'm going to show you if you want to. So we can get rid of parentheses by distributing -1, and then we can move -6 to the right side by adding 6. So now we end up with this, apparently this is the slope intercept form, because y is by itself, a number times x, that's the slope, and the other number is the y-intercept. So now we have actually both formats here. So this one is called the point slope form, and this one is called the slope intercept form. So now let's look at another example. So in this example, notice we're only given 2 points. And in order to use any one of these formulas, we must know the slope. So without the slope, we cannot, plug into the formula. But we already talked about the slope formula. So even though it's not a given, we can apply the slope formula, rise over run, and to find the slope. So we plug in those numbers given, y2 minus y1, so 5 minus 3, and x2 minus x1, 2 minus -1. And two negatives make a positive, so I have 2 over 3, 2/3 as our slope. So now we're still going to choose the first formula, because if you want to use the second formula, one thing is missing, which is b. B is what we call y-intercept. And y-intercept is, if I show you a graph here, y-intercept is the line, whatever the line looks like, the intersection point of the line with the y-axis. Actually, it's the y coordinate. So this point, it always has 0 and some kind of b. But notice both points given, none of them have 0 as our x-coordinate. So which means neither of these numbers, 3 or 5, they are y-intercepts. So we don't really know what y-intercept is and what b is. So it's not, you cannot plug the y-intercept directly into the formula to get the answer. Because in order to use this format, we need to know the slope, which we already have, but we don't have the y-intercept. So that's why I'm still going to pick the first formula. So let's bring down the formula, and then we're going to plug in the numbers. So I now have the slope, which is 2/3. Now here we actually have 2 pairs. Although the other one was labeled x2 at y2, they're just going to be in the formula x1, y1. They're a point on the line, and notice both of them are points on the line. So you actually can pick any of these pairs. So if I pick -1 for x and 3 for y, and plug them in there, and it will work. And if you want to pick 2 for x1 and 5 for y1, it will also work. Although they look different, after you turn them into slope-intercept form, they should look the same. So so this will be the answer. But again, if you want to simplify it a little bit, you can do that. So in this example, I'm not going to turn this into slope-intercept form, and I just got rid of 2 negatives to make a positive. So this is the answer. Now, what if I want to, again, if you want to plug in 2 and 5, and this is also correct. Both are correct. And although they look different, if we get rid of parentheses, combine like terms, you will end up with the same format, the same answer. Now, let's look at another example. So in this example, so previous 2 examples, I applied the first formula, point and slope form. Now, when should we use the second formula? And in this case, we're given m slope and b y-intercept, m slope, b y-intercept. In that case, it's much quicker, just plug them into the second formula, because all you have to do is to replace m with the slope given and the y-intercept given. So you're going to replace 2/5, plug in 2/5 and plug in 3. So you get the answer immediately. Same thing with the second one. So plug in -2 and plug in -4. So this is called the slope-intercept form. So these 2 formulas are both correct. And in fact, you can use any of these 2 formulas to solve any of the problems. But sometimes, like for this case, it's much quicker to use this. It's not much quicker. It's a little quicker to use the slope-intercept form directly. If you use the first one, it will also work, but it just takes one extra step. But if for these questions, since y-intercept is not given, it's going to be quicker if I use the point slope form. Otherwise, you have to solve for the y-intercept first and try to solve for b and plug it b back in there.